And good evening, everybody. This is Michael Filigera. I am with logicalsignals.com and also tradershelpingtraders.com. And this is the Elliott wave update for the NASDAQ 100 for Sunday, June 27th, 2021. I've sat back and I've taken a look at how I have been counting this final intermediate wave 5 higher, and then again, in turn, the minor wave 5. And what I've come up with is that prior to this, I had the minor wave 3 here and the minor wave 4 there. And I had a problem with this being a minor because this ended up being too much looking like a 3 to me. And so you could over here, right? So this is where it started, and it was that. And so that just looks too much like a 3 in ABC rather than a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I've readjusted, pull minor wave 3 to the now basically at the all-time high of 14,064, and or the previous all-time high at that time it was, excuse me. And then the minor wave 4 being that decline down to 12,915. And so what it actually does, and we'll go back down to the hourly chart now, what that does, it just gives more room. So my other problem was that the way that I'm counting this particular wave, and that we're in this final minute 5 up to finish a minor 5, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, the way that it's counting out was pushing things. It didn't leave much more upside room to the market. And then I've noticed that the Dow continues to want to add. We still have basically another day, possibly 2, of portfolio adjustments, of end of quarter window dressing, of whatever you want to call it, but just this where people come in and they're all exchanging up here. Getting prepared for the balance of the year, who knows? But I needed to give more room because the rally was really buffeting up against resistance that would have been a little bit too high for the wave count. So by extending wave 3, I've given us more room coming up. And that was 4,475. And this is, let me just go in and I want to double check. So I really want to refine these numbers if I can. Yeah, that's the midpoint. That is the midpoint. 200. Oh. 475. Yeah, let me give that 4 points. Yeah, there we go. And that gives us even a little bit more room. So also the wave 3 here was turning out to be a little bit too short. And I was starting to not like the way I was counting it. So again, I took a step back and I took a look at it and realized that wave 2, and it kind of was leaving it also at a 3-wave type of a structure. So I had to go in and I changed that around, put a 1, a 2, and yes. And then again, a 1, a 2, and then a 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, and back up to there. And so that all fit. But by extending it, we've also extended the Fibonacci extensions going back up. So I gave wave 3 more room. So again, I'm not changing the count in terms of that we're still counting the 5. But what I've done is I've given some additional room to that upside without starting to move into not violation of Fibonacci extensions, but more violation of Elliott in terms of wave 3 cannot be the shortest wave. And the way it was kind of leaning and tilting could run that risk. So by doing so, I've given more room to wave 3 and thus giving more room to wave 5 to possibly get to its most common relationship with wave 3. And that is that wave 5 will be 0.618 times the length of wave 3. And that's right here at 14,723. And it also just puts some other things in cleaner perspective. Instead of this being 0.786 and this being 0.705, I've just given a whole lot more room to the advance. Again, because what I'm attempting to count here is a final move of a rather larger advance that, again, I'm going to refer to it, that started in 2008. So this thing has been underway for quite some time. And so what we're looking at, and we're staring down the barrel at, is the beginning stages of a primary fourth wave. Because we're finishing the count of a minute 5, which will complete a minor 5, which will complete an intermediate 5, which completes a primary 3. So I haven't changed the count, but we're refining where we sit now and what could still be ahead. This still actually counts pretty well. That there's a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, but suddenly this can be a sub-minute wave, right? Minute, sub-minute 1. Instead of sub-minute 1 here, sub-minute 2, 3, 4, yeah, 5, because that's not going to work. Because, well, if it does, we should be falling much quicker than we are. So I still believe that if anything, this is the end of 3. So I've got 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of 3. All right, so I'm going to count all the little squiggles there. So this is the end of 3, and we're still in 4. So from that high of 14,222, 14,422, excuse me. The market continues to just consolidate. And that leaves open the possibility that we may come down. And I could put in some additional Fibonacci, but I'm going to have to take out some of these. But I would run Fibonacci's from the bottom of wave 2 to the top of wave 3, and that gives us some legroom on those are extensions, and this is the draw. Thank you. Now I'm going to put in, come on. If this is going to be a little way forward, agree with me, please. Thank you. Now we're going up to 224 and 400, 222. Thank you. All right. Good. So what we have is 382 is 14,285, 286. So that would be the most common. We've gotten down to 320 or 312 or something like that on Friday initially. And so I would again be continuing to think, well, okay, well, we could drop there. If the market is going to start heading higher, it's going to do in a fifth wave, and it should pretty easily show us that's the direction, because it's going to break above 14,422 without many problems. And it actually should be heading up to 14,634. So new highs, definitely. And then it should build on those new highs, because if it is indeed going to be a continuation of this fifth wave, then it's a 5 of a 5. So that doesn't pretend that it's going to be super, super strong, but they can be. They can be. And that's where we might see more of a straight up type of a blow off type move. And it would correspond to maybe one that's also happening in the S&P. The S&P, instead of stopping at that resistance after being held all week last week at high resistance zones, just kept going and now continues to go and has reached 4276. And we were thinking 70 would contain it. So not that that's a huge gap, but could be enough. In any case, for tomorrow, I got downside down to here, maybe 14,243. NASDAQ is not really buying into buy and keep going. So they may still have a little bit more correction to do. But again, it's consolidating, and you can tell because it's just doing nothing but move sideways. I'm going to leave it right there. And the expectations remain for limited downside and stronger upside moves. Next update will be Monday, June 28th.